All right, we are going to install laminate floor up here in the toy room. Got the whole crew helping me. So we got this floor from Costco, and every manufacturer has its own set of instructions. So you'll just want to, whatever floor you're putting in, read how they want to do, the pattern and all that. This one, we're going to need 4 rows to start. So we're going to start on this wall. I'm going to snap a line somewhere like 4 feet out as a reference line to keep it straight. And we'll snap together 4 rows, and then we can scoot it nice and straight to the line. So I guess first thing, I'll show you what tools you need. You're definitely going to need a table saw, chop saw. I have done entire jobs with a skill saw, but I wouldn't suggest it. All right, so hand tools for this job. You need tape measure, pencil. This is like a tapping block, so you use this to tap each board into place so you don't damage your flooring. This is a little pry bar, so you can snap your boards in from the end. I'll show you how to use that later. You use a chalk line, a rubber mallet to tap on the tapping block, and then some spacers. This particular floor has 3/8 of an inch gap around the whole perimeter. We just got our line snapped. That's our reference mark. So we're going to lay some planks out here, and then I'll show you how to get it all lined up. Well, that was one of the more frustrating starts I've ever had. That second row didn't really want to snap in there. It was real floppy. Not used to it clicking in that hard, but it's all good. So now that we've got 4 rows all locked in there, what we're gonna do is measure to our line that we snapped and make sure that we're all nice and straight, parallel, all that stuff. I know that this room is pretty even, and so I didn't bother measuring like across the room to the other side. But if you're doing this in an older home or a home you're not familiar with, you'll want to measure the width of each side of the room. Sometimes a room might be an inch bigger on one end than the other, and you'll see that when you get to the other side. So you can split the difference and kind of start crooked in order to hide whatever discrepancy you got there. So, all right, we're gonna pry this floor straight to the line there, and then we'll be able to just blow and go. Got it all straight to the line, got it all shimmed off the wall, and what that does is when you're tapping your boards in, it won't shift around on you, and it gives you something nice and solid to tap against. These are the shims I'm using. They're just your typical laminate floor shims. They have a couple different thicknesses, so depending on how you stack them, you can shim whatever you need. Now it looks like I got one little cut there. I'm just gonna do that. I can show you how I make those cuts when I get to the column, but try to get a few more starts here and just start blowing and going. So on these ends, that's where this little pull bar comes in play. So you get this popped in there. Use this bar to get the butt joint tight. So like that. It's padded on the bottom so you don't scratch the floor. And you definitely want to buy a good one of these. The cheap ones bend before you even finish one floor. So, all right, so I got to cut this piece to go around that chimney column, and you could do it with the jigsaw, you could do it with the skill saw, but my preferred method is with a table saw. So I just marked out my notch here, and then I freehanded on the table saw. Like that. All right, just about finished up with this floor. Wanted to show you a couple more little tips and tricks on finishing it up here. So I've got this door trim that I gotta cut the bottom off so the flooring can slide underneath. And I just use a multi-tool. I'll show you how I do that real quick. I just take one of my flooring scraps and rip the backing off. You want the backing off, that way the thickness of your blade doesn't take too much of the trim off. You set that piece of scrap flooring on the ground and take your multi-tool, take it flat against that scrap flooring, you can cut the trim right off. Like that. And you can do that with your door jambs also. These door jambs are already up high enough, so I'm not going to do it. But if you did have a door jamb that went all the way down, you could do that same thing, and then that hides the edge of all your boards, so you can slide your flooring right underneath the door jamb. Backing should slide right under there nice and tight. Look at that. So that's kind of a goofy little cut, but basically I'm trying to make sure that at that corner I've got my expansion gap, but over at the trim I have sufficient coverage with the trim to hide, the edge of the floor. So it's gonna be tricky getting that in there, but we'll be able to tap it into place. So yeah, we got our expansion gap that we need there, and everything hides under the trim there, so golden. All right, so when you get to the end, you still need to make sure you keep your expansion space, and if it's not even on both sides, I just trace it out on there on the board with like a Sharpie, and then freehand it on the table saw, because it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Your trim's going to cover it, but so that's a good way you can, get those angled cuts. So this is where your pull bar is going to come in. Slap that in there. That. You want your little spacers at the end there, that way when you tap your next board in, it doesn't just slide your first board. Super happy with the way this floor turned out. It was, it's kind of a sprint. You just blew this thing out. And then had to wait forever for the stair molding to come in. So sorry I didn't film that, but I'll show you real quick how you do that. So basically you just gotta cut the floor back far enough for this piece to set on the subfloor, and then this notch here notches around the flooring, and this goes down over the edge of your stair riser. It also came with some shim material to shim up your subfloor if this thickness is not correct for your floor. You can shim that down, and I ended up having to use both shims on my flooring. I think we got this at Lowe's. It matches pretty dang good. So all this flooring came from Costco. They had a really great deal earlier on in the spring, so we picked it up. And yeah, it's all super easy. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer them the best I can. And if you want to get into the trade, I got a free 3-step guide on how to get your first job in construction. So be sure to check that out. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.